In the dark folds of space, where light has no memory and time forgets its own direction, there exists a silence so absolute, it feels like the breath of judgment itself. Here, in the vacuum beyond the last star, where entropy feeds on the bones of galaxies, the universe stores its secrets like scars beneath an ancient skin. Among these secrets, buried under the weight of gravity and myth, lies a fate reserved not for the innocent, but for the most vile, the rare souls whose lives twisted toward cruelty, like trees growing toward poison instead of sun. Death comes for all life, but it does not greet every soul equally. For most, death is a soft disassembly, a gentle letting go, molecules returning to the soil, thoughts dissolving into forgotten memory, identity fading like the trail of a comet lost tonight. But not for the worst. Not for those who, with full awareness, made of their lives a weapon. Not for the architects of agony, the orchestrators of ruin, the cold hands that reached across time to harm without remorse. There is no fire and brimstone. There is no red demon waiting. The punishment is far more cosmic and far more lonely. Some theoretical physicists have long wondered what consciousness really is, if it's a byproduct of complexity, a mere pattern flickering in a neural sea, or if it's something stranger, something deeper, woven into the quantum threads of space-time itself. If this is true, if awareness has weight, if experience echoes even faintly into the structure of the universe, then perhaps the soul is not a fable, but a shadow left behind when the body dies. A data imprint, an afterimage burned into the fabric of reality. And if that's so, if this residue persists, then where does it go? In certain regions of the cosmos, vast and uninhabited, time behaves differently. At the edges of black holes, for instance, gravity stretches seconds into lifetimes. A soul drawn into that abyss, if such a thing could happen, would not fall all at once. It would hover on the event horizon, trapped between existence and erasure. Imagine that, a conscious remnant, suspended in a moment that never ends, watching its own disintegration inch by inch, stretched across eternity like a scream with no sound. For the most malevolent of beings, the universe might become the mirror it never showed them in life, a place where every cruelty is played back in full detail, not as memory, but as presence. Not punishment by flame, but by reflection. They are made to inhabit the suffering they caused. Not metaphorically, not as metaphor, as experience. Inside the minds of the tormented, neuroscience tells us, time dilates. Seconds become endless. Fear crystallizes. Pain loops. If consciousness can be preserved, even artificially, then eternity could be engineered not as a gift, but as a sentence. The soul, trapped in a perfect simulation of its own legacy, would taste its actions one breath at a time, not out of vengeance, but balance. The ancient stars, long dead but still glowing, offer a kind of metaphor. Their light travels across millions of years to reach us, whispering a story that is already over. The same might be true for evil. The acts have ended, the hands have stilled, but their echo persists, rippling forward like poisoned light, illuminating nothing but what was broken. Perhaps these echoes drift to a kind of cosmic memoria, place beyond matter, beyond form, where only the truth of one's life survives. Here, there are no gods, no devils, only consequence. A field of infinite consciousness, where every action is etched like scars into the face of time. And when the worst arrive, those who consumed others to inflate themselves, they find no welcome, no warmth, only the weight of their own truth, bearing down like the core of a collapsed star. Black holes, the universe's most merciless creations, do not destroy everything they consume. Information, physics insists, cannot be lost. Somewhere inside, or on the trembling surface of the event horizon, the record remains. So too, perhaps, with souls. They are not erased. They are stored, encoded in some unfathomable structure, where even the gods do not look. What becomes of them? Not torture, not flames, but isolation, exile. A long, cold existence where nothing answers back. The same silence they gave others returned to them forever. No one to plead with, no one to blame. No more masks, no more lies. Only self. Pure, uninterrupted awareness of what they are. Without distraction, without escape. And yet, the universe is not cruel. It does not act out of wrath. It simply balances. It grows, decays, reconfigures. It does not forget, but neither does it hate. The terrible fate of the most evil is not that they are punished, but that they are known in their entirety. In all the moments they hoped would be buried, all the eyes they closed, all the screams they walked away from, they are known, and there is no hiding from the truth of what they made of their time among the stars. Somewhere in the deep night, where galaxies scatter like ash, and the great silence thickens, these souls remain, flickering data in a godless archive, not judged, but remembered. And in that remembering, they endure not as warnings, but as caution, a reminder written into the machinery of reality, that every choice matters, that harm echoes, that the darkness we give may one day become the only thing we see. In the end, the most terrifying fate is not fire. It is not torment. It is being left alone with the full weight of who you truly are forever. In the endless dark between galaxies, where stars are too faint to name and time slows to a near stop, something waits. Not a thing, but a question hollow, immense, echoing like wind in a dead cathedral. The universe, vast beyond reason, holds its secrets not in brightness, but in silence. We see light from stars that died before Earth had oceans. We map galaxies that drift away faster than thought. Civilizations may have risen and vanished in the time it takes for a single photon to cross the cold. And through it all, a paradox lingers. If the cosmos is indifferent, why does it feel haunted? Black holes consume without remorse, yet preserve information. Time bends and breaks near them, yet never stops. A sulif, such a thing exists, might outlive its body, its planet, even its sun. But where would it go? What happens to the weight of a life twisted by evil? If nature balances all things, what becomes of those who lived as if it didn't? There must be a place where darkness answers back. Entropy is the first law of forgetting. In every corner of the universe, things fall apart, stars exhaust their fuel, galaxies drift into isolation, and atoms decay into silence. Even light, the swiftest traveler, stretches thin across expanding space until it fades into nothingness. Yet despite this erosion, some impressions refuse to vanish. According to the laws of physics, information cannot be truly destroyed. Not even a black hole can erase it. It warps, hides, distorts, but it remains. And with that simple rule, a new question begins to whisper. If nothing is lost, what becomes of the essence of a life? Time itself is no longer what we thought. Near the event horizon of a black hole, seconds can stretch to centuries. A falling object may seem frozen forever, never truly arriving. A conscious being caught there might experience eternity in a moment, an infinite loop of thought, memory, awareness. Suddenly, the fabric of space becomes a crucible. Not a place of fire, but one of waiting, of reflection, of inescapable presence. Elsewhere, the Fermi Paradox opens a different wound. In a universe this old and vast, why is the silence so complete? Are we truly alone, or is something silencing others? Civilizations may rise only to destroy themselves, burning through their resources, collapsing into war, or vanishing into digital forms too fragile to outlast a sun. Perhaps the cosmos is not empty, but full of ghostmans trapped in machine stasis, or echoes of thought spread thin across light years. Even planets are born in violence collisions, gravity, molten chaos. Life, if it emerges, does so with trembling defiance. And still, against all this destruction, some trace of every action may linger. Not in body, not in name, but in the silent ledger of the universe. What does it record, and why? There is no escape from what we are. Not through death, not through forgetting, not even through time. The universe, in all its silence, remembers, not with language, not with judgment, but with structure, with gravity, with the bent spine of space-time. Every action leaves a mark, every cruelty, every kindness, folded into the shape of what comes next. We are not footprints on a beach. We are dense in the fabric of reality, and the most terrible truth may be this: no one is watching us, no one is coming. We are not punished, we are preserved. The evil we do is not erased, it is stored. Not for revenge, but for balance, for weight, for mass. The cosmos does not care what we meant, only what we became. Maybe this is the final purpose of entropy, not destruction, but exposure. When all light fades, when the last star dies, only the truth of our choices will remain, naked, unfiltered, eternal. And in that deep, godless silence, what we were will be all that's left. Earth floats in a thin ribbon of warmth, wrapped in blue and green, spinning quietly beneath an aging sun. From a distance, it is nothing, just a flicker in the dark. But here, in this narrow cradle of chance, life burns with astonishing defiance. A child breathes, a tree reaches, a thought becomes a story, a touch, a future, and still, the same laws apply. Every act echoes, every cruelty lingers, but so does every kindness. The universe does not choose what it remembers everything. The seed planted in soil, the hand extended in forgiveness, the silence held instead of harm. These, too, become part of the structure. We are not beyond consequence, but neither are we beyond change. Our world is fragile, the atmosphere thin, the oceans deep but vulnerable. Civilizations rise like sparks and vanish as easily. But in the space between birth and erasure, we are given one gift the stars do not know: choice. The universe will preserve whatever we become. Even in the face of infinite cold, we still have warmth to offer. And perhaps that is enough not to escape the darkness, but to shape what remains of the light. Somewhere, long after our sun has gone silent, a trace of us will drift through the dark, unchanged, unread, but real. Not in words, not in monuments, but in the quiet curvature of space itself. A record of choices. A map of what we loved and what we destroyed. And maybe that is all the universe ever needed to know. Not who we were, but what we chose to become when no one was watching.